Okay, gamers. Eel has made a mod where he adds 4 new units. We just played a PBC patch, and let me tell you, they are amazing. Not only that, I just found the greatest deck in the game. Okay, you should be seeing it on the screen right now. It has mines, moles, termite nest, squirrels, and tier 2 squirrels, as I call them. I don't remember, I always forget how they are called, but that unit, yeah, that unit. And pigeons, yeah. You use... the meat of your army is the squirrels and the tier 2 squirrels. The tier 2 squirrels generate food when they are outside of your territory, and they eat food when they are inside of your territory. So what you want to be doing is to always be idling them outside of your territory, yes? And that is why we have mines and moles, yeah? You put your army outside of your base, surround it with mines, or put mines in front of your army, between your army and the enemy, right? And when the enemy tries to dislodge you, which he's forced to do, or else you'll get too big of an economic advantage, the mines will blow his army up or weaken it, right? And then your army just kills it, kills the enemy's army. You also have moles, so you can spend your money while you have your army in outside of your territory, right? Or if the enemy just lost his army, so you can plop down a few mole warrants, right? And press your attack. There is also the termite nest, which generates... it has a range of 10, and it generates food while damaging enemy units. Enemy buildings, right? So what you can do is plop down the termite's nest just outside of the enemy's base, of the enemy's grist mill, right? Put mines around it, put your army behind the termite's nest, right? And if you are able to do that, you will basically get a free farm. You will force the enemy to attack into your mines, or else his base will be destroyed. And, well, basically you just win, right? Just win. It is the greatest deck. I call it the roamer, right? Because you're roaming on the map. Literally the greatest deck, the proxy deck. It has 2 units which generate extra money, right? The deck is so good, I managed to beat SzenSnej, the professional TNT player, 3 out of 4 times with this deck. And he got absolutely destroyed. I will show you now the replays, right? We can watch them together and analyze my strategy while using this deck in a more practical scenario, right? Let me just open yeah. Let's start with game 1. Play. Okay. I've actually lost this game. Also, as you can see, I'm using falcons instead of moles. This was before I had refined the deck. That will come in the next iteration. Also, I forgot, I use pigeons because, well, sometimes the enemy uses mines, right? Which the pigeons just help with mine clearing. And, well, let me just pause the game. Whoop, right? And I've noticed that the tier 2 squirrels, right, they get damaged pretty easily, but they're actually pretty hard to kill because of their range. So I found it actually pretty useful to buy some pigeons to keep them in top shape. Okay, let's watch this game. As you can see, SzenSnej in red started with Mole Rush. I started with Termites Rush. Nothing extra, just a classic untested patch games. These rushes are always prevalent before the meta is developed. Let me just here is the unpause button. This isn't really a very interesting match because I don't get to use the strategy yet. So I'll just speed through it and I will tell you when something interesting happens. We are just trading in the early game, nothing extra. I'm just trying to defend with my squirrels. Got caught a little bit out of position there, which allowed him to destroy my army and get another pig. Very sad, I know. Just scouting, you know, just classic TNT. Here he gets another good trade. I should have really not been so forward with my squirrels. Classic beginner mistakes, and he gets another pick for that. I finally buy a few mines for extra defense. That's also something mines are good for, right? Then he attacks me through the back door. Luckily, thanks to my army positioning, he loses like 90, like 120 worth of food on his lizards, meaning that was actually a good trade for me, even if I lost a pick. Even though I lost a pick, He's building up his second base, you know, just classic TNT. Let me speed through this a little bit more. This isn't really super interesting. Here you can see I'm starting to build up the tier 2. God damn it, what is their name? Let me just check what the unit is actually called. Raccoons! Yes, that's what they're called. Raccoons. You know, I started building up some raccoons because, you know, I have to get back into the game in somehow, right? Hop. So I start employing the strategy. I'm too much behind, right, in my economy to actually win, but you'll see how well this strategy actually goes if you employ it right. My enemy has only tier 1, which means these mines are going to be super effective. Let's zoom into the battle a little bit. See, I'm setting up my minefield right on top of my army, so when his lizards attack, they'll just get absolutely destroyed. Now look how you can use those raccoons. I will use those raccoons to poke at his army, because I know I have to do something to weaken him a little bit, because he's just so ahead. See, they have just such good damage. They 2-shot any tier 1 unit and 4-shot picks, which means they are really good pokers because they don't stay a long time in the enemy's range. See, as you can see, they are also taking a lot of chip damage. That is why the pigeons are so good. Here he just outflanks my minefield and, well, he just had a lot of too big of an army. Well, I guess we had a pretty equal army value. But yeah, he just outflanks me and he absolutely destroys me. That was the first match. Now let's look at the second one. More replays. Stage 1, PBC, here. This patch is, or rather this mod is a little weird because the termite nest is basically free value as long as you manage to sell it, which means early rushes are pretty prevalent in the early game in this patch. In this mod, I mean. Hopefully it will be a new patch. It's super fun. Which means you have to scout not only for moles, but for the termite's nest too. This SzenSnej is doing a super weird cheese right now. Right, he does a mole, I sell a farm. Right, he sells his moles. He buys this thing, I'm like, this is not a problem, I'm not worried. A single squirrel will be able to destroy it, right? No problem. He also has a termite's nest right here. That will be getting him a lot of value. I haven't realized how strong these MG nests are, actually. I thought a single squirrel would be able to beat it. Clearly not. They have pretty a lot of HP. You could also see that my farm got destroyed by the termite nest. I haven't realized that actually while I was playing. Should have solved it, but oh well, what can you do, right? Nothing extra, right? He just keeps building those things. MG nests. I build a termite nest to destroy his MG nest, so I will also be getting free value, and he will be or he will be forced to sell them, right? Here I see that it's not in the range of the mill, so I sell it because, well, I need the money more than a useless structure, right? Here I noticed that the termite's nest is actually not getting food or not attacking buildings if it cannot see them, which is actually pretty annoying, but he actually just sells his structure, so it's not a big of a deal. It's a little bit of extra value. I sell it and I try for a poke, but he has already built up an army at home, so I just retreat because, yeah, won't be much. That attack wouldn't do much good. I try building up some defensive mines, but it just ends up being basically free value for him. Although I did get one lizard. Because my deck necessitates me being outside of my territory, I'm trying to build forward mines right now for preparation for the future, when I start building up my raccoon counts, right? My raccoons. Just a classic scouting game right now, classic early game, nothing extra. It's a classic minesweeping dance right now. I relocate my mines a little bit in a little bit of a more defensible position in this choke, and started building up my raccoons. Raccoons are a pretty good unit. 5 damage, 1 second every attack. That's more DPS than a squirrel. Well, actually it's like 2.5 times the DPS of a squirrel for 3 times its price, but because of the HP it's probably more valuable than a squirrel. Definitely if it's outside of your territory, because then it's just making money, right? Raccoons, best unit in the game, I'm telling you right now. I'm starting to build up my squirrel counts, 2 squirrel warrens right now, and see, I'm starting to posture because of my raccoons outside of my territory, so I start getting free money. I get this nice high ground where I place my mines. I should have relocated, sold off my back mines and moved them forward. That would have given me a more secure position, but I don't realize that is a mistake until later. That's a lot of food, basically, caught in the backlines for no reason. I'm getting confident because I haven't actually seen his the murder, right? The second new unit, or third new unit. Again, I forgot the English name. Wow, epic. Basically that black animal, right? Well, I haven't noticed yet so much of them, so I think I have actually a bigger army, and so I start pushing, which is pretty bad idea, turns out. I start pushing soon, really soon. Not yet, no, not yet. I plop down another raccoon warren, and I start pushing. That's a bad idea, right? A lot of my army is just caught up in mines, which means I should either sell them off, which is pretty bad when you're fighting lizards, right? A pretty bad strategy. What I really should have been doing is creep them forward, like, you know, sell off the mines completely in the back and put them in the front, and this way I could have moved closer to his base without endangering my army, right? But I think I have a stronger army, you know, overconfidence, my greatest vice. And I start basically an attack, and I get absolutely destroyed. Watch this. I'm just vibing, you know. He caught him a little bit out of position, he lost a warren, but then he just destroys me. The murderer just swoops down and kills everything. I start retreating. Luckily, I had these mines set up, and they destroy his army, basically. If he went further, then more of them would have been killed, right? He has basically nothing now. Imagine if that battle happened after the mines hit, right? I would have just won. We will see that later, in a later game. Something like that, right? That's the problem with this deck, by the way. If the enemy has the advantage, you have to keep your raccoons on the defensive, and then they'll just keep losing you food. Which means even though he has the bigger army, I have to be outside of my territory, meaning I have to be outside of this epic choice point, and outside of, or in front of my defensive mines, basically. Just so I don't go bankrupt, because I have only 4 mines, and my enemy has already a second mill. Oof, should have rallied those raccoons sooner. They have just been eating, but what can you do, right? When you're scouting, you can't really rally well. Anyways, here I start setting up a forward perimeter. If he decides to attack the high ground, he'll just get obliterated again. Here, see? I'm selling off my back mines knowing I will need the food because I have, only 2 farms. The only reason I'm even able to build anything is basically because of my raccoons. My raccoons are literally half of the economy right now. Oops. Now I notice that he has a second base, so I put mines here on the high ground in this epic choke point, and I start poking again with my raccoons, which I noticed is a really good strategy from the previous game. Let's look how well this goes. Right? I start poking with these high damage units, and then he's like, oh no, right? He's attacking me, I have to attack him back, right? And let's look how these mines shatter his lizard force. Every mine explosion takes away 2 damage, or deals 2 damage to the lizards, I think. Which means half of his lizard's force needs half of my squirrel shots to die, which means only 2 shots from my squirrels to die, or 1 shot from my raccoon, which basically just half his army in a single moment. And then he only has these ravens, which, well, good, right? 3 damage, 9 HP, pretty strong. Not that strong, because, well, not that strong against ranged opponents, or... Actually, I don't know how strong they are, but let's look how this battle goes, right? I get additional reinforcements, which definitely help. But yeah, after his meat dies, the murder dies pretty easily to my squirrels and raccoons. And then I just win from here because I have an army and he doesn't. Poof. And then I just win. Easy clap. Okay, let's go to the next game, where I will use this strategy even better. Okay, normal spawns basically. Pretty annoying that I have this high ground here where he can put down termites. So annoying, man. And he has nothing, which means that I wasn't able to use my termites well. Or at least hide them well, right? I have to always basically scout this high ground. Just early game, nothing extra. He tries the same cheese as before, again. But now I am prepared, so I know I shouldn't invest in only 1 squirrel. Luckily he retreats, knowing it probably won't go well since I scouted it. Just classic early game. He tries to rush with 2 warrants, I counter with 2 warrants. He tries to push with 2 squirrels. I know that it won't work because I already have my 2 squirrels, 3 even. Let's zoom in a little bit. Whoops. Yeah, and he goes back. I sell off the farm, seeing he has 4 squirrels and I only 3, so it's just better to sell it off, or else it will just die, right? I try to target his squirrels a little bit. Yeah, nothing extra. He can't push really well because I have just enough squirrels to defend. We are both on 3 warrants now. He tries another attack. I sell the Warren off for 55 only. I think he got a shot off. What can you do? We are both on 7 farms. This fight goes pretty well. He spread his damage among the 2 pigs, which means, well, that was what allowed me to win, along with the shot support from the pigs, pretty epic, and the base. Whew, the pig is 1 shot from dying. But yeah, thanks to my target firing, I prevail. He keeps trying to push, but he finally realizes he won't be able to, I think. Now I get a critical mass of squirrels, and I'm finally able to shatter his attack. I know that I have superior numbers of squirrels because of how many I just killed, right? So I now go onto the I go onto the attack now, right? He knows that I know that he is weak, which is why he builds an MG. I see the MG, and so I try to outflank him through this route. There is this cabin, right, but that can be easily killed now after that patch, with basically only taking no damage. That is literally basically no damage, since squirrels deal 2 damage, and squirrels have also 8 HP, which means it still takes 4 hits, 4 shots from a squirrel to kill another squirrel. I mean, the pig maybe changes it a little bit, right, but it's not a big deal. Yeah, I start poking, kill a single pig, have a firing line, kill all of his squirrels, easy clap, kill another pig, just easy, man, easy, so easy to kill him. I just keep building more warrants. Well, okay, I'm not... I'm transitioning into raccoons, right, to start with the roamer strategy again. But I'm so ahead, I think I will just kill him with the squirrels. I regroup my army here, and then I just push. And yeah, that's just a DD for me. I try to troll him with this termite's nest, you know, build him in the range of... I tried building it in the range of his gristmill, right? And I was like, I'm just going to plop my whole army there and basically get free money until he slowly dies. That could have costed my game. I was pretty nervous, actually. Realized it was a stupid decision, but really he already lost so many farms that it probably doesn't matter, even if it is 60 food. Right, overconfidence is my greatest vice, and this is the peak overconfidence right here. He just kills it. I try to micro to save it, but no luck, no dice. And then my raccoon arrives, and he just... This is his last attack, right? I put my raccoon in the front because I noticed he has toads, and I hoped kinda that his toads would explode on my raccoon. But he microed them pretty well into my backline. Well, I thought he microed them pretty well. Now I noticed that it only exploded on my raccoon and a single squirrel, so didn't go that well, I guess. So, meaning my distraction actually worked. A pretty good strategy, putting strong units in front, right? A big brain moment. I just overwhelm him because I have a bigger economy. He just steps out. Okay, this last game is basically demonstrates the pinnacle of my strategy, and that we will see the game right now. This was an improvised strategy, right? During this PBC tournament, I realized I formulated this strategy over these last 3 games, and this is the game where all the experience and knowledge I gathered will come into fruition. First, look at my spawn. 3 bases, 2 pocket bases, only 2 choke points right next to each other. This is a greatest spawn, although I noticed he also has basically the same situation except that he has 2 choke points here, which I could use to backstab, right? I could use to backstab him. I didn't actually know that he had this base during the game. This is the first time I'm noticing that he had this second base behind him. Yeah. During the game, I thought I could just stay on these two bases and starve him out. But then I realized I have raccoons. I don't have any other tier 2 or tier 3 unit, okay? Which means starving him out puts me at a disadvantage. Even if he didn't have this second base, right? This third base, I mean. If he was only on 2 bases, he would just have a much better unit composition. And even though I was in a secure choke point, right? He would just be able to kill my army. Look at it, he has falcons and chameleons. He would probably be able to put falcons in this spot right here, fly them over here and neutralize my third base anyways, right? Meaning, I thought about it during the game, like I could starve him out, but I thought it's a stupid strategy with this deck, which is basically one of the weaknesses of this deck, right? You have to stay aggressive or else we will just lose. Well, let's see how it plays out then. Just a starting dance. I'm always worried he's building moles or termite nest in my pocket here, but turns out he never did. I'm dancing here with a termite nest too. Nothing comes out of it, just neutral trolling. Yeah, but I do delay his squirrel warren a little bit. We're all both just... Well, he's rushing, right? I'm ecoing up. I notice what he's doing, I sell off my thingy. You know, classic early game dance, you know the drill, We're both trying to get ahead of the other. Nothing extra. Oh, yeah. He's building his mines here. Just classic mine placement directly in my path of attack. I try expanding. Well, I do expand, right? I built my mines a little bit in front, but then I realized that is not where my army will be sitting. I wanted the enemy to commit to an attack and then not be able to retreat, right? That is far more destructive and useful use of your mines, so I relocate them closer to my base and closer to where my squirrels will be sitting, so for maximized mine effect. I put some mines in this choke point and then some in the other choke point. Like that, behind the water. I notice he's transitioning into tier 2, which makes me go eco up, because I know he won't be able to attack me. I see that he's also building a second base, which means I'm pretty safe right now. Pretty safe to transition into raccoons, right? And here is where I realize basically that I have to attack because my composition doesn't permit me to commit to a starvation plan. Starvation game, I mean. I build another farm because, I mean, you can attack, but that doesn't mean that you can't farm behind an attack. Although my deck would probably not require me to build so many farms. It would be more effective probably to just commit to an attack, commit to the forward base thingy. But see? Oh my god, what is he trying to do? He's probably trying to prepare a flank against my base. I haven't noticed this at all during the game. He doesn't even use it, I think. Yeah, I'm building up more squirrels, so I won't have to return home many times. Or that often to build more warrens. I sell off my mines. I already prepared mines here, so I can basically move my army to the front. My enemy is transitioning into wolf. I didn't scout that at all. Probably should have scouted more, right? But I was focused on this strategy too. His mines do basically nothing. They kill 2 squirrels probably. But yeah, I built the pigeons, so all my units get healed from those mine hits, so they are pretty ineffective basically. I'm standing here, just using my raccoons as farms. I'm basically 2 farms ahead because every raccoon farms half a food per second, which means 4 raccoons farm 2 food per second. My enemy isn't scouting, isn't paying attention, so I move up my minefield closer to his base, which allows me to build you guessed it, termite nest. One bonus thing about pigeons. They have 8 vision range and are flying, which means they are pretty good for spotting enemy structures for my termite nest to eat when the structures are on the high ground, which is another reason for you to take pigeons. Right? I now know that I am basically out-ecoing the enemy because I have a raccoons. I will have a termite's nest out-ecoing him. I have all my army here, surrounded by mines, which means I'm feeling pretty secure right now. I head back to build another raccoon nest, and this guy attacks meanwhile. Let's look how his attack will go. His commander dies. Pretty nice. His camps are in the front, falcons and squirrels shooting in the backline. The mines, they don't do much, but they do kill like 2 squirrels and damage like a few other ones, so it's probably value. Also, the first 2 squirrels, first 2 mines I mean, weakened the chameleons enough for them to not be a threat, which allowed them to die far easier to the shots from my backlines, which means they basically are non-factor in this battle. In the end, the falcons blow their loads too early, right? They're not super useful, they don't have high DPS, they have only good alpha damage, which means that his army is actually pretty weak, especially considering nothing. He just has a weaker army. Raccoons just beat falcons in these low numbers. I'm able to clean up his army, and then I just win. As you can see, these are the reasons why this is the greatest deck in the game, and once this mod or patch becomes an official patch, you should definitely try this deck out. Thanks for watching, and subscribe.